Hi everyone, my name is Moonshine and I'm the host of today's AMA with SpaceWay, which is a utility token connecting people to the commercial space economy through real world experiences, education, and rewards. And in today's AMA, we are going to cover what is SpaceWay Token, SPACEWay Token utility, the SpaceWay ecosystem, community benefit, of course, and how me and you can get started with SpaceWay Token. And we have Kelvin Heath here with us, who's going to walk us through each and every one of these things that I have just mentioned. But to start with, Kelvin, can you kindly introduce yourself and the team behind your project?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. We're really excited about the SpaceWay Token project. I personally have been in aerospace for over 20 years. I got to work on the Spaceship One project, which became Virgin Galactic. I got to work on the very first operationally responsive space mission using the SpaceX Falcon 1 rocket. I got to work on the Dream Chaser space plane. I managed a payload outside the International Space Station. And I'm one of the few people that can say they have a payload operating on the moon. So I'm a space geek at heart. We just love the space environment. And we thought with all the excitement that's going on with crypto and the Web3 and blockchain, it's changing even faster than commercial space. So we thought, why don't we marry the two and bring commercial space and blockchain and Web3 together. So that's the whole impetus behind the SpaceWay token.
Interesting. And okay, let's now kickstart into what the ecosystem is all about. So, what gave you guys like the intuition to name this project SpaceWay Token, and what is the ecosystem actually evolved around?
Well, we named it Spaceway because the parent company is Waypoint to Space. So we thought Spaceway was, Waypoint is a part in a journey. It's if you're planning a trip and you plan waypoints, those are places to stop on your journey. So Waypoint to Space is a journey to space, and Spaceway we came up with as a way to kind of augment that journey. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it definitely does. Now you can just dive into, what the project is all about. What are you guys trying to build? Or to make the question more direct, right? Today, many Web3 projects start with a token and then search for utility afterwards. But in your case, Waypoint to Space already exists as a real business, right? So how has that reverse development process influenced the way you have designed your token economy?
Well, I know from our research that most token projects begin by trying to figure out how do they create the utility for the token. We looked at this from the opposite direction because Waypoint to Space has been building the real community and the company for years. And we're the only company in the world to have FAA safety approved trainings to actually train people to go to space. Now, for people outside of the United States that they think of space, they think NASA, and NASA does the U.S. government space program, but commercial space, flying tourists to space, lunar missions, mining asteroids, all of this stuff they're talking about in commercial space, that's actually governed by the Federal Aviation Administration, so the FAA. So if you want to go to space commercially, you have to go underneath the FAA flag. So we're the only company in the world that actually has 4 spaceflight training programs that have FAA safety approval. So that's the first thing. And we didn't create Spaceway, the token, and then invent a business. So we already working on Waypoint. We're already going down that path. So we created Spaceway as a way to enhance what we're already doing and what we're going to do. To bring utility to Spaceway, every utility we bring has to support a real customer experience, whether that's memberships, astronaut experiences, education, rewards, digital experiences. With a token has to have a purpose because the ecosystem already has that purpose. So our approach is focused on long-term value rather than short-term speculation. And I want to say this up front, and I want to be brutally honest. If you are looking for a token that you can buy quick and sell for a profit quick, you're not our customer. You're not what we're looking for. We're looking for people that believe in what we're trying to do. They're going to be with us over the long haul, next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. That's the kind of environment that we're creating, the kind of community that we're creating is a long-term play, not a short-term buy and dump. So if you're the type of person that's just looking for a quick play, I would suggest you move on and find another token because we're not it.
I think something that really caught my interest is you saying, what you guys have built the token around has a purpose. And definitely when someone is trying to achieve a purpose, or when a project is trying to achieve a purpose, it takes time, right? It is being built, like the popular saying, Rome isn't built in a day, right? So definitely the kind of investors that should be attracted to such projects are those who look into the future of what the project is trying to build. So I totally agree with that. But then, the commercial space is becoming increasingly competitive. So beyond blockchain, what will I say competitive advantage does Waypoint 2 Space possess that would still make the business valuable to investors if SPWay never existed?
Well, we're building the business no matter what. So we were doing this, we've been working on this for the past couple of years. So we're going to do the business, and if our plans are successful and we implement our goals and objectives, then the Spaceway token community can just ride that wave. They can benefit from what we were going to do anyways. We're adding the token as added value and to also bring in the world, basically, not just US people. So people from all over the world can now partake in commercial space through the Spaceway token. So we're not building an ecosystem and for Spaceway. The ecosystem already exists. Spaceway can just capitalize on it and be able to get a lot of utility from it.
Great. Another aspect I wanted us to dive into, and it's something you kind of touched on already, right? The SPWay utility extending across membership, astronaut experiences, education, merchandise, which is something really interesting to look at from several perspectives. But now, how do you prevent the token from becoming just another payment method? And you could as well just touch into the total circulating supply. Are you guys going to have like a burn mechanism to sometimes reduce the circulating supply to make the token still have its value?
Yeah, that's a great point. So first of all, we've only minted 2 billion tokens. So that's all that's ever going to exist. We are implementing a burn system. It's still in the works, but we're going to limit the supply. Out of the 2 billion tokens that we've created, 1 billion we're putting in a treasury and we're not touching. It's on a multi-sig reserve account. That's for the long-term growth because we anticipate this token being around in 5-10 years. So we're going to hold those back. And then we've got our tokenomics plan that is structured such that we can support the growth with all the different wallets that we've created for marketing and for ambassadors and for the public sale. So I want to be clear that the token is payment is only one piece. So holding the token is going to unlock participation benefits in the ecosystem. So as our ecosystem grows, the token holder can gain access to rewards and membership and exclusive opportunities, digital benefits, community benefits, and basically additional utilities that we introduce over time. So the goal is simple, for people to buy a Spaceway, hold it, and it gives them long-term ongoing value inside the ecosystem, because the more you hold, the longer you hold it, the more rewards you get and the higher tiers you have. So it's not just about spending the token, it's about holding, taking advantage of the ecosystem, and benefiting from the entire system with Waypoint Space.
Great. And just now you mentioned, as new utilities are introduced over time, right? So when these utilities are being introduced, how do you decide, or how does the team decide whether every new service should integrate SPWay rather than accepting traditional payment rails only?
That's a good question. So I'll answer it by this. We ask ourselves, does adding Spaceway improve the overall customer experience to that? And if the answer is yes, then we'll integrate it. If like traditional payment methods work better for a particular service, we'll continue to accept those as well. I'll be honest, we're not trying to force Spaceway and blockchain into everything we do. We want it to be a valuable asset to us and to the token holder. So we're making those decisions based off of that.
Great. And this answer you just gave a distinction between the business revenue aspect and when it comes to blockchain too. So seeing that your revenue comes from real world experiences while SPWay powers digital engagement, how does the team envision the relationship between business revenue growth and token value without creating unrealistic expectations for holders?
Wow, these are good questions. So the company generates revenue by providing real products, services, and experiences. So the token provides utility throughout that entire ecosystem. So as the business grows, more people have reasons to participate. More participation creates more utility. So we're focused on building a business that continuously creates new reasons to use Spaceway and thus more utility. That answers it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your straightforward and transparent reply. So going back to the token supply of 2 billion tokens, right? And I have seen that these has been allocated across several parts of the ecosystem. And now the staking. Could you walk us through how many percent is allocated to the staking, and are there different staking, will I say, rarities or something? Are there different tokens that need to be staked, and what are the percents that would be earned back?
Yes. I'd have to bring up the exact breakup or breakdown of them. I'm trying to bring it up right now, but off the top of my head, we're doing like 40% for public sales, marketing, ambassadors, staking rewards. We can go through the exact percentages. It's from the white paper, and I don't have those figures in front of me. But we've blocked it out, so we're taking the 1 billion that are actually available. Like 400 million are going to be for public sales. I believe off the top of my head, 150 million is for staking. So we've got a bunch of different, trying to bring it up if I can see the exact figures. I don't have it in front of me, but
No, it's fine. Fine. You could
sorry,
just
I don't have those numbers memorized, but we, like I said, we put it in the white paper. We've structured it such
yeah.
that we're planning for the long-term
Yeah,
position.
definitely.
I could try
Maybe
to bring them up.
you could just share with us if there are some internal principles that determines these percentages, and is it something that would always fluctuate, or is it something that is just stable and being put in a way that it keeps the whole ecosystem running long term?
Good question. So while you were talking, I actually found it. It's 40% for public sale, 15% staking awards, 10% ecosystem development and partnerships, 7% marketing community growth, 7% ambassadors, 6% for liquidity, 5% for strategic investors, and 5% for exchange listings, and 5% for user rewards. So all of those, we looked at those numbers, how to break up the 1 billion and not have to access the additional 1 billion for the reserve. So this is going to carry us through the next several years, the first 1 billion allotment, and maybe we never even release the additional billion. Maybe they just stay for more 5-10 years down the road, since we're only making these 2 billion, and if we're burning some of them for transaction fees and stuff like that, the allotment is going to decrease substantially over the next several years. So the whole point is we designed this to be a longer term play versus the short term. So for example, the price point, you see a lot of these tokens out there and they're selling for 0.00000001, right? And you can buy 1 million of those and get, like $10 or whatever, right? What's the point of that? I mean, that seems like a more of a pump and dump type token than anything else. So we've set our token on what we think the value is. So the value is going to be 14 cents, and we want to grow from there. So it's not 0.000, it's 0.14. 14 cents is what we're launching with. And we want to grow steadily from there. We don't want to shoot up and go to $5 or anything right away. We want to make it a consistent growth strategy that aligns with our tokenomics.
Sounds really transparent. Definitely appreciate you walking us through that. So now let's talk about the kind of community that you guys have and what kind of community are you trying to build. Like you mentioned before, you definitely need long-term holders to help the project to stay on a long term, right? So are you trying to build a community that is able to get involved with certain features or strategies that the team has implemented? Do you give the community a chance for their voices to be heard? So it kind of helps the community members and the team to work hand in hand.
The short answer is yes. We want to engage the community because there might be some things that we haven't thought of. When you engage the world, people have different ways of looking at the world, and they might have things that they're interested in that we never even thought about. So as we grow, because we plan to have these space experiences worldwide. So we're going to build the first couple here in the US, and then we've been contacted by Spaceport Sweden, by the UK, by the UAE, by Australia. So we want to grow the space experiences all over the world. So getting that type of active feedback, that type of involvement from our worldwide community is going to be very important to helping us understand what people in other countries are interested in, because they're not going to be interested in the same things that we are. We are going to be focused on space and how to get people to space safely and return them, and the ecosystem that surrounds that, and STEM education to get the kids excited about space. But ultimately, we need our global goal to be reflective of what people all over the world are interested. So we are going to have, open communication. But I do want to be clear, ultimately we have to do what's best for the company, what's best for the stakeholders, the investors, and the company growth itself. So somebody might have what they think is the best idea ever, and they'll get offended if we don't implement it. But there might be, regulations from the U.S. that prevents us from doing that, or international regulations, or we may not have the ability to implement that right now, or the idea is really great, but we don't have the technology to implement it. So we are going to accept input, but understand we have to still be realistic. We still have to manage a business in the process.
Great. And to keep fostering trust, it also has to come from the project side of things. So I see that the smart contracts that the project has undergone an independent audit. But beyond the contract security, are there other ways that you guys have been able to make investors or community members trust the project, especially because you guys would go global and you need the project to be something that's across every jurisdiction, it is being accepted and can be invested into?
Yeah, so we've had everything audited. We have companies that are working with us that are experts in this. So we're experts in aerospace and commercial space. We are not experts in blockchain and Web3. So we've brought on consultants and companies that have helped us through this process. I'll be honest, one of the challenges we just recently had was we were supposed to launch on Bitmart on Monday. And then we found out Saturday night, Sunday morning, that Bitmart isn't around anymore. So all of a sudden we were like, oh crap, we were supposed to list on that exchange. So we had to engage the team. And within, I would say 48 hours, we had negotiated a deal, and now we're launching on Buy Finance on Friday. So that kind of shows our adaptability and how we can step up to challenges, because we could have easily just said, okay, well, crap, I guess we got to start over. But we were able to raise $300,000 last week through the launch pads, and we don't want to leave those folks hanging because they're part of our community. So we wanted to get the launch as soon as possible. So we were able to retask, refocus, and now we're launching. We announced today that we are launching on listing on Buy Finance this Friday.
Wow, I would really say that is a very, very huge milestone and something incredible that, it's sometimes difficult to see teams in DeFi space that could pull that up, especially because of the kind of market we're currently in. So kudos to the team, and I'm so happy that you guys were able to work your way around that and definitely still listing. So I think the next question I wanted to ask was about the kind of partnerships that you guys are looking forward to, or when evaluating future partners, do you prioritize organizations that strengthen the blockchain ecosystem or those that strengthen the commercial space ecosystem, even if they have little Web3 experience?
Well, we're looking for partners in both Web3 and commercial space. Our expertise, of course, is in commercial space and aerospace, so we're already working those partnerships. We're starting to reach out to the Web3 and blockchain folks and try to figure out ways that we can work together. I'll be honest, we're the first company to ever bring commercial space and blockchain together. So it's a steep learning curve for all of us involved. Nobody really thought about doing this before, but everybody seems to love the idea because we're both innovative industries. We're both growing exponentially. The sky is not the limit for either of us. So trying to put these two together and grow exponentially at the same rate the industries are, that's our plan, and that's our challenge at the same time. So we are open to, partnerships from Web3, blockchain, from the partners. And like I said, we're already working on the commercial side. So.
Great. What kind of marketing are you guys currently running? Because I see some tokens were also allocated to the marketing aspect of the project.
Yeah, so we're really going to hit the ground running next week with more of a dominant marketing campaign. We were focused on the launch pads last week. We were focused on trying to fix the Bitmark debacle this week. So we're going to focus more on getting out there and marketing on more of an advertising type basis. We already have all the social media sites, the Telegram, the X, the LinkedIn, the Instagram. We have all the social media sites already set up, and we've been running those for months now and growing that community. But you're going to see a real targeted effort to go out from an advertising type marketing standpoint. We're also going to pursue listings on CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko to increase visibility. And then as each new achievement happens with Waypoint or Spaceway, we're going to make press releases. We're going to do interviews, might be doing a whole bunch more AMAs just to keep people informed of what we're doing, how we're progressing, and keep people involved.
Great. This project is actually a very wide one, and I still have a bit more questions asked, but I definitely want to give it to the community to ask their own questions, because I believe we really want to hear what they think. So guys, if you have questions, kindly signify by raising your hands and you will be unmuted. I can see a lot of texting my DMs and also in the chats, so I'll definitely be walking through that to see questions that befits what we're talking about. But before I start getting questions in, Kevin, is there something you'd like to mention or say that you feel has not been touched on during our discussion so far?
Well, I just want to reiterate that the Web3 community is new to us. We've gotten a huge positive response, not only from the Web3, but from the people from the aerospace community that are like, "Holy crap, you're doing a token, really?" So it's a really exciting time for us, and I think for commercial space, for the blockchain and token. But like I said, I cannot stress enough that we are doing this because we want to bring space to everyone. We want to get everyone involved and not just have space be for governments and rich people. So I don't know about you, but I was not able to take advantage of the SpaceX IPO that, made Elon Musk a trillionaire. So that was kind of depressing because it just showed that space is still kind of out of reach for a lot of people. So the whole idea with our 14-cent token is pretty much anybody in the world can buy it and become part of the community. So like I said, we want folks that are believing in what we're trying to do. They want to help us do what we're trying to do, and they want to buy and retain the tokens and tell everybody they can, all their friends, about exciting SpaceWay Token.
Yeah, I mean, everyone would definitely be hyped about a project this big and a project with a purpose. It's very hard to see teams that really work this hard and definitely wants to stay here on the long term, especially because I wouldn't entirely say we are in the bullish market, right? So it's even kind of much more difficult right now to build something very solid, and that's what you guys are doing. So I would definitely say kudos to you and the team. So let's have a question here from David. So David, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Hi, Moonshine. Hi, Kelvin. Good evening. Good day. Let me just go straight to my question. Well, it's been a nice presentation so far. My question is, what are the most immediate real-world utilities for SPWay's token holders, like in the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months?
So from what I heard, you said, what is the real world utility in the next 6 to 12 months? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a great question because we're building the Space Experience Center and it's going to be up and operational in basically 2028. So your question is, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with this token utility while I wait? Well, we're not a one-trick pony, meaning we have multiple companies that we're working with. We have sub companies, like, for example, if you guys want to look at something really cool, you can go to www.myspacecrystals.com. So myspacecrystals.com. That's a company that we started several years ago to take your DNA, put it in 2 crystal solutions to the International Space Station, and while on orbit, they grow into 2 totally unique crystals embedded with your DNA. We bring them back to Earth. We give 1 crystal to you. We take the other crystal with 1 gigabyte of your data. So it could be TikTok videos or manuscripts or whatever that tells a story of you, so that your data goes with your crystal and it gets bolted onto the side of a NASA lunar lander and it gets sent to the moon forever. It's called the Space Crystals Immortalize Me program. That program is kicking off this year with this effort. So there's going to be launches, there's going to be exclusive VIP parties, there's going to be special events that are going to happen. And as we build the facility, there's going to be the groundbreaking ceremony, there's going to be different events, dinner with an astronaut, things that are going to be happening. We're not just going to sit around for 2 years doing nothing. So as we get closer to opening the facility, there's going to be online programs that are going to launch that token holders are going to be able to take part of. So we're going to really start ramping up what we're doing after this Spaceway launch, because once that's up and running and we're advertising and moving and shaking, and with that, that's when these other programs start to kick in as well. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, Kelvin, that's brilliant. I'm going to check out that MySpace. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's myspacecrystals with an S.com. So it's plural, MySpaceCrystals. And
okay.
Our very first customer and brand ambassador and part owner is William Shatner, who's known for being Captain Kirk.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you very much, Kelvin.
Yeah, thank you so much, David, for asking such question. Really appreciate. So a question here came in the chat from Phineas, and Phineas is asking, what is the cost of astronaut training in USD, and what percentage discounts would SPWay holders receive?
That's a great question, because we have 4 different levels of training. And so we have spaceflight fundamentals, we have suborbital training, we have orbital training, and then we have payload specialist training. So it really just comes down to what your interest level is, the discounts, how we're going to work it with the tokens is, however much the training is. So for example, if you wanted to come for the full week of spaceflight fundamentals, it's $12,500, right? And the token holders will get a discount upon that, but they can also use a percentage of what the value is of their tokens towards that purchase. So it's not only a discount, you can actually use it as the utility to purchase that type of training. But you're also going to be able to, come to the facility for the discounts. You're going to be able to get the materials like the hats and T-shirts and any type of memorabilia that you're interested in. So it's going to be incorporated as much as we can within the total ecosystem so that you really get value out of this. We don't want this just to be something that you bought a couple years ago and you haven't touched, right? We want you to be thinking about, oh, wow, if I get a couple more, then I can get to this tier, and that gives me that many more benefits. And so we're really trying to incorporate it in the entire ecosystem.
Thank you so much for your question from the chat, Phineas. And if you want more clarification or if you have additional question, you can definitely head to the SpaceWay Token X or Telegram, and I'm sure the team will be willing to answer your question. Another question here from Country Fadi is saying, what STEM education partnerships are already in place and how will schools use SPWay in their curriculum?
I'm sorry, repeat that. What type of? I didn't hear.
What STEM education partnerships are already in place and how will schools use SPWay in their curriculum?
Oh, STEM. Yes. Great question. So I got 2 kids, and I don't know about you folks, but my kids can't get their faces out of their phones. It's really, really frustrating. I want them to stare up and see the world, and all they do is look at their phones all the time. So my big push with our company is to make sure we get kids excited about the future and commercial space in general, because somebody asked me one time, they said, well, we really like these commercial space training programs you got going, but they're probably not going to be needed in 10 years. And I'm like, okay, why not? And they said, well, once these guys start flying successfully to space and back, they're not going to need these hardcore, training programs and stuff that you've designed. And it's like, well, okay, that's not really true, because you can have astronauts train for 6 months and then they get into space and they still suffer from space sickness. So that's not really true. It's not going to be like flying an airplane across the country and they just show you where the exits are, right? It's a lot more. Spaces are very, very hostile to your body. But beyond that, I said, just out of curiosity, let's say I agree with you and they're not going to need these training programs. I said, what's going to happen? I said, do you believe there's going to be places for these people to go with this new commercial space environment, like space hotels and moon bases and trip, 3-day trips to space and stuff? And he goes, absolutely, I absolutely agree with that. I said, fine. I said, just out of curiosity, who's going to clean the rooms in these space hotels when these rich people leave? Who's going to go out and do a spacewalk and fix micrometeorite hits and realign solar panels and do all this stuff? Who's going to handle the people before and after launch, right? I said, you're going to see an entire infrastructure of service personnel. So people that are supporting this industry that may either never go to space or have like a 6-month on orbit and 6-month home type of a scenario. So we have to get people, and especially kids, knowing that commercial space is an opportunity for them, and they have to be ready for it. They have to study their math and their science and engineering and be able to support this industry that's coming fast. SpaceX is making leaps and bounds. Blue Origin with Jeff Bezos is they're coming up strong. So commercial space is, there's at least 3 commercial space stations are going to be built. So it's happening fast, and we need to get the STEM education programs going. We've got agreements with Teachers in Space, with some STEM programs here in the United States. We've already signed some LOIs from some international STEM groups to send students from all over the world to us. So hopefully that's a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah, but it was a very explanatory answer and very clear. So, but if you still want more clarification or you are interested in knowing more, country, you can definitely still reach out on their socials, and I'm sure the team would be very happy to get more information for you. That's if you're in the education field. So thank you for the very nice question. Let's have a live question from Antoinette. So you can go ahead with your question.
Okay. Am I audible? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay. Thank you, Moonshine. And here's my question. Okay, I appreciate the vision behind the Spaceway and how you've positioned it within the commercial space economy. Given that both blockchain and the commercial space sector are rapidly evolving industries, how does your team determine which opportunities align with Spaceway's long-term mission? And what criteria do you use to decide which opportunities to pursue and which to avoid?
Well, that's a great question. That's us trying to see into the future, right? Because both of these industries are changing so fast. I mean, the regulatory environment with blockchain and with commercial space is evolving as we speak. So we're trying to figure out how to, deal with those challenges on both sides, and try to position ourselves going forward as much as possible so that we can take advantage of the opportunities and avoid the obstacles. I mean, we don't know what the future holds. I mean, it's kind of a nebulous answer, but both these markets, the future is wide open, but nobody knows where it's going. So we know there's going to be a need for folks to train for space, to have space experiences, to see if this is something they want to do. We know that industry is going to move forward. We firmly believe blockchain, Web3 is here to stay. So integrating that into what we're doing, we think is a very smart strategic move. But time will tell. I mean, we are nimble. We're fast, as we showed with the Bitmark debacle. We can adjust quickly. So we're just trying to do the best we can to grow the company and the token to its full potential, both of them.
Does that answer your question, Antoinette? I can see your mic is on, but we can't hear you speak. You can leave and rejoin so we can hear you properly. Let's just give her some few seconds to see if she can join in on time. There are a lot of interesting questions in the chat here. I'm trying to see which I can pick. Okay, we have you back. You can, were you able to get Kevin on his answer?
Yes, I was. Thank you very much, Kevin, for that answer.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you too for throwing us into the future. I guess that is really important for long-term value token, to want to see how the team wants to venture into the future. So a question from Badran says, why was Ethereum chosen as a network, and are there plans to bridge SPACEWay to other blockchains like Polygon, Arbitrum, etc.?
That's a good question. Like I said, since we are aerospace experts and not experts in blockchain, Ethereum was advised to us as the best place to start. So it was our advisors that told us Ethereum was the best place to go, and then we could look at broadening from there. But like I said, it wasn't really a conscious decision more than this is what the experts told us we should do, and then take it from there. So I know that's kind of a weird answer, but like I said, we can't be experts in everything, so we had to hire good people to help us make the decisions we made, and that's what they advised.
Yeah, I hope that answered your question too. I got another question here. I'm trying to find it. Okay, Lam is asking, what regulatory risk does SPWay face in different jurisdictions, and has the team consulted with security lawyers?
That's another question that is good because we're actually getting our legal opinion done this week. So yes, we are working with SEC lawyers and trying to figure out how the SpaceWay token is affected by different jurisdictions, especially the U.S., since that's where we are. So we are hoping to have our legal opinion done by this week, and I'll probably have more answers for you after that.
Yeah, I really appreciate your very direct feedback. So another question I saw here, just give me a minute. I have to really scroll. so many in the chat and so many in my DMs, and I'm trying to get in very good questions. This one says, are there plans to eventually make Waypoint 2 space partially or fully owned by community? I guess this is about the governance. Karata is asking, so are there plans for governance and DAO in the future?
I'll be honest, we haven't even considered that yet, so I cannot answer that question. That's not something that we've looked at this point.
That's very transparent about you guys, so that's fine. Okay, Jerry's asking, will SPWay holders eventually get access to discounted commercial space flights experiences, or is this further down the roadmap?
Well, as we mentioned, once the facility is up and running, then SpaceWay holders are going to get access immediately. They're going to get access to stuff before that, like we discussed, but there's not going to be any waiting period. They're going to have access just as fast as everybody else. The big question is, can they get here, right? Because we're going to have the first facility built here in Houston, Texas, right next to NASA Johnson Space Center. And then we're going to build several more here in the U.S. and then branch out. So it will be several years before we are, having facilities internationally. So a lot of the token holders will have to take advantage of online programs and chat, video chat and things that we're going to come up with to engage the international community as well as the folks that can actually make it here. But the point is, we have plans to branch out all over the world. So we're coming. It's just, you're going to have to be a little patient.
That makes a lot of sense. I think these are all the questions we're going to be taking for today's AMA. For questions I wasn't able to get to, I'm so sorry, but you can definitely follow SpaceWay Token on X, on Telegram, and definitely all the socials that was tagged in the AMA announcement banner. And I want to know, Kevin, is there anything you'd like to mention? And we got some very pretty good questions in today's AMA. And just to let you know, another wallet will be sent in the chat. I have already done that. So you'd be using the new wallet I sent in our private group chats, because the reason for the change was also stated in the chat. So that's something you can definitely walk through after the AMA. But I just wanted to state that out here. So the former wallet address that was sent won't be used. So, but before I close down the VC, is there something you'd like to mention, or a part that you felt wasn't touched throughout today's AMA?
No, a lot of good questions. And as you can tell, we're brutally honest. We'll admit when we haven't thought about something, and that's why we love the community, because they can help us start thinking about, hey, maybe we should start thinking about this. So we don't have all the answers. We're doing the best we can to put the best token we can on the market. Like I said, for long-term utility. And, we're passionate about space. We want people to be involved in space in any way they feel they want to be involved, whether it's just buying a token and being part of the community, or actually taking a real flight to space. We want to be able to help you along that entire journey. So, we're trying to make space as accessible as possible to anyone that wants to take part in it in any way they want to take part. So we welcome the community to help us with that mission, give us advice, work with us, and help promote us, because word of mouth is really important. We can't talk to everybody. So please talk to anybody that'll listen about the latest and greatest SpaceWay token.
Interesting. Definitely, we don't give financial advice here at GoldDiggers, but I can say this was a very interesting section for me personally, and I, definitely took my time to go through the website, try to understand what they are building, how long they've been here, the kind of real world utilities they're trying to integrate into the project. So it's something everyone listening here can definitely do. Do your own research. If you have questions, head to the socials, ask whatever questions you have, join spaces that they would be having, and get every clarification you need to have, and you can then decide for yourself if you really want to invest. But this is a good one, and any updates, any milestone that is being crossed in the future, we'll definitely post updates at GoldDiggers chat, and we hope to have the team also here in the future at GoldDiggers. The team is always welcome. So thank you everyone for joining. There was very good questions today, and I wish you all a great night, a great day in whatever part of the world you are. And thank you so much, Kevin, for joining once again. Have a great day.
Thank you.